Welcome everyone. This video is going to be on how to build a flasher circuit. These are all the items that you're going to need. One of them is a capacitor. That one there is to be determined what size capacitor you need. We have a 2N3904 transistor, 555CN chip, flasher chip, and then we got an 8-pin socket. Keep that in mind, 8-pin. And we got three 10K resistors. You can use different kind of resistors. You can use like two 10Ks and a 1K, but then that's going to affect the capacitor you're going to need. So just a matter of playing around, and a board to put everything onto. One thing that really is helpful is to have a breadboard. That's what this is called. It's not really made out of bread, but anyway. And you can use this as a guide to follow once you get it all put together for that. And it's also very helpful to have this put together so when you want to use the capacitor and you're not really sure which one you want for the speed of the flashing of the light you want, just use this, put your capacitor in, whatever one you want to use, check it to see the rate of flashing on the LED, and just keep going through different capacitors until you find the one that you want, which is why I have that. And another helpful thing as well is all these pins that get snipped off of these and off of LEDs, do not throw those out. These are like gold when it comes to putting together circuit boards. It saves on a whole lot of wiring. Another very important tool is these clamps, which is indispensable. They're fairly cheap. You can get them at any hobby shop or hardware store. Pretty much everywhere you look, they got them. First thing you want to do is to get the 8-pin installed. So make sure you solder it on the right side. You don't want to solder it on this side because there's nothing for the solder to hang on to. It has to be this side. Now, make sure. Now, the pin here, you can see there's a little notch. I always face that on the outside of the board, because when you're looking at it this way here, you got you can see it here. It goes it counts this way from the notch. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are the pins. Okay. Now, you find out where you want to put it on the board. I'd say right about there. Now you want to use your soldering iron. Oh yeah, then another really important tool to have. Soldering iron. Now the fine tip is what you want. Mine kind of broke off, but it's okay. Now you see where the pins are. You start on one corner. Okay, just want to make sure I get that flat. Then you go over to the opposite corner. Get that really anchored in. So it looks like that. Okay, now that you have that on there, first thing you want to do, grab a resistor. Now, a lot of times you would put it in like this, but that tends to take up a lot of room on the board. To save space, go like this. And just bend that right down. Now, this first resistor is going to go on pin 6 to 7. So remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 6 and 7 get connected together through this resistor. And we just got to solder that on there. So just go. Okay. Now these just go bent over. You just got to trim the pin. So it touches pin 6, now pin 7. Trim it again. Make sure they're not touching. Now we solder those two tips to pin 6 and 7 on the actual chipboard here. Let's make sure that okay. All right, here we go. Looks good. All right, now we do the same thing. One more resistor. Just bend that one side all the way down. And now this in here goes from 7 to 8. So just go here to like that. Once again, solder it in place. And then just take this, bend it over so it reaches pin 7. Just trim that down. And this one here all the way over to pin 8. Once again, trim. Before we get too carried away, we need to do a couple of shunts. Now, when you look at your breadboard here, actually, let's look at it your way. There are 2 shunts here going to opposite sides of the chip. So this in here is pin 2 to pin 6. This in here is pin 4 to pin 8. So I'm going to do 2 to 6 first. Now this is where all these little itty bits of stuff come in real handy for doing this. So when you have this thing upside down, the numbers are reversed. So you make sure you got it right. So 1, 2 to 6. 1, 2 to 6, which goes over here. So just need to get this on there like that. Oops. Okay. Okay, that's 2 to 6. Now I gotta go from pin 4 to pin 8, which is 4 to 8. Let's see here. I need maybe a slightly longer, a little bit longer. There we go. Each chip that you build, or circuit board you build, isn't exactly the same. So each one will need slightly alterations. So I just need to make sure I got that right. There we go. And double check that by flipping it over. Pin 4 to 8, 4 to 8. So it's got 2 to 6, 4 to 8. Those are the shunts. Next step now for the third resistor. Remember, you can use a 1K. This is a 10K right now. You just twist it back down. Now this in here goes to number 3. So I'm just going to put this in here. Tilt that down. That's good. Okay. Now this here is going to connect to our next item that gets put on here, our transistor. So to make this fit easier on the board, some transistors already come with their pins widened out to fit in the holes there. This particular one doesn't, so I just gotta widen these pins out just a little bit there, like that, so they go into each holes here. So I'm gonna put this fairly close to the board, like right about here. Now I'm going to solder the middle section here, then the two sides, like that. Now for this pin here goes to the resistor. As the center pin goes to the other end of this resistor here. Now, this pin here, when you're looking down on the transistor this way, this pin here, I just push out to the side because that goes to the negative of the LED from the transistor. This pin here goes all the way over here to number 1, or the ground or negative on the 8-pin chip socket. So I'm just going to bend this over, being careful not to touch any of these other the shunts. I'm just going to solder the tip here and the tip there for the LED. Now I need an extra length for here to reach the socket pin 1. So let's see here. Yep, that'll do. Just like that. Now you got to keep in mind each, as I said before, each circuit board is going to be a little bit different. Okay, that takes care of the transistor. Looks good. Now this is where the breadboard really comes in. So you have a bunch of capacitors here, but you're not really sure which one is going to be suitable for the flash of the LED that you want. So let's put it to the test by placing each one on the breadboard to find out which one we want. All right, I just had to change up my breadboard. The other one wasn't working right. Okay, now I'm going to use a 9-volt power source. I'm going to plug the negative and the positive in. All right, and you see the LED working fine. Now, when it comes to a capacitor, you see these here like 0 and arrows. That is negative. The side without it is positive. All capacitors have that. Doesn't matter what size. The negative goes into pin 1. Positive goes into pin 2. So in order to do a test to see what flash you want, just plug it in and watch it. Let's see. Well, that's a bit slow for me. Okay. So that one there was a 470 microfarad. This one here is a 220 microfarad. So the lower the number, the faster it should flash. Oops. Now see, I put that in backwards. Negative goes to pin 1, positive to pin 2. Okay, let's see here. Well, that's interesting. Okay, not quite what I want. That's not working. Still having a bit of issues here with this. Okay, let's try This is a 10 microfarad, so that's going to be pretty fast. So let's see here. Yep. And how about this one? This is a 22 microfarad. That's not bad. And then we got, what's this, 47 microfarad. That's good. I like that one. Okay, so we'll install this one, the 47 microfarad. All right, now we got the negative, the positive. So I'm going to put the, yeah, let's put it over here, just like that. All right, now the negative one goes to pin 1, positive pin 2. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have this bend down, but I'm going to have it where it's above all the other stuff here, so it's not touching. Just twist it a little bit here so we can get that down in there. Okay, pin 2, or this goes to pin 2. Just going to move this over just a bit. It's a bit long, so I just got to trim it off. Now you can see I have 2 sets of wires here. This is going to be used that powers the circuit. This one here goes to the LEDs. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to hook up the power. Now you notice I don't have the chip in here yet. You don't put that on. That's the very, very last thing you do. Now, when you're looking at it this way, with the notch here, this is 1, this is 8. 1 is the negative or ground, and 8 here is the positive. So this red line here goes in to number 8. Just like that. And this black one, number 1. So now I got everything hooked up there. Now for the LED lines. Okay, now we come to the point where you see this in here sticking out the side. That goes to the negative line of the LEDs, and the positive comes off of number 8. For the negative line, I'm going to be using this white wire to stand for negative. And positive here. So number 8 here has multiple roles. Not only, providing all the power and running the resistor, and also runs, power comes off to the LED lines. So there we go. Now it's time for the chip to make everything work. With the chip here, you got to be pretty careful. Just be gentle when you're putting it in there. Now I find sometimes when these pins on the chips here, they're spread further apart than what goes in there. So I just take this and very gently just straighten them out. It doesn't take hardly any effort. Now, this has a notch that goes along with this notch. Make sure these notches are facing in the proper directions, both together. Now you manually push it down, and you can see it's still not all the way down. So what I take is this, push down the back, just like that, until it's all the way down. Alright, let's just get these all hooked up here. Now, like with the LED here, the shorter one is negative, longer is positive. And there's our circuit. Let's give it a try. Okay, I'm just going to use a 6-volt power source here. There we go. Not bad. Now, one thing you want to double check, make sure if the light is like on and nothing's happening, it's possible that one of these lines here is touching something it's not supposed to, or it popped off and you just got to resolder it. And if the shunts are touching each other, the light will just shine. So you just got to use something or turn off. See that? Nothing happening until you take it away. So you just got to make sure nothing is touching that's not supposed to. And other than that, it should work. And that is how you make one of those flasher circuits. Now, another thing you have to keep in mind, if you're using a red LED, even though it's running off the circuit, it's still going to draw way too much power. So you will need to put a resistor on the positive end of it, so that the yellow or green or white lights here that you have flashing in your model has enough power going to them to make them flash. If not enough power is going to them, nothing's going to happen. So you have to have a resistor on your reds, despite it coming off of that. I hope you found that informative and insightful for your own builds. This is like the cheapest and easiest way to put flashing lights into your own models without having to spend literally hundreds of dollars for already built circuits for yourself or your model. I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions about this or anything else, you can contact me at epic.models@gmail.com. And you can also check out my website, www.epicmodels.com. Yeah, I will see you all guys later. Bye-bye.